Hi, welcome to Jadekind Gaming. My name is Adam. Today I have an unboxing of the Lords of Waterdeep board game. This is a board game set in Waterdeep, a city in the Forgotten Realms setting of Dungeons & Dragons. I've actually, I believe, done a playthrough of this game along with its expansion, which is a two-part expansion, which we used both of a while back. My friend has the game, and he has the expansion, and we've played that. I've never played it without the expansion, because he combined them in a way that it's difficult to separate them. And he doesn't live in town anymore, so I went and got the board game myself, so that I can play it other than just when he comes in town. So, anyways, this is a large box. The back, of course, shows what's included. It's a nice box. You can see it has like sort of this decorative line down the middle for how the box splits. Let's get the plastic off and get this open. There we go. So the cover is like only that deep, and it only goes up to a certain point in this. So I just think that it's kind of a cool box design. And inside, of course, you get the board itself. It's quite large. The outside of the board has, where you track the points. There are the different, there are spots at the top for quest cards in the quest deck, and discard is on the other side, outside of frame. There's a spot down here for when you get your extra, agents, and they even have a spot for the one that isn't in this game. It's only in the expansion. You get gray in the expansion. Whatever, the Builder's Hall, and where you'd build your buildings. Yeah, it's pretty much laid out, and basically the middle is where you put your stacks of the dudes that you collect, the little blocks you collect. And here's the basic buildings where you collect things from. So, others would be from the buildings that get built. And we'll see those momentarily. Anyways, big old board. We then get the rulebook. Rulebook goes over rules. Yes, the names of the different colors, what the different components are, of course, how to play the game, what the buildings are. First, just what the buildings that are, those main buildings that start on the board are, and then what the buildings that can be added are. They actually have details on each building, because while it is described on the building itself what it does, some of them could be a little confusing if you're not entirely sure. If there's any questions of how things interact, they usually cover it here. That way you're covered. A little bit about the different groups, because it is in the Dungeons & Dragons setting, and so they bother to give you fluff information. The different lords that you would play. Here's the different cards for the people you have, which each have different bonus point objectives hidden for the game. And just a glossary and how to store. That I didn't know was in here. Here's how to store everything in here once it's all opened up, and that is awesome. That is awesome. I love a game designed to be stored well. And the rules reference on the back for quick reference. Here is an advertisement for the Dungeons & Dragons board games, different board games, from back during the 4th edition of D&D. You can tell by the logo. And for D&D Encounters, another, I believe that's 4th edition. I believe they've changed the name since then, if they're still running that. And then we get some actual tiles here. Oh yes, so here's the back, here's the front, and here's a bunch of the different buildings that you'd have, and you'd pop them out, of course. So you get your buildings, and then you have, the owner of the building puts their token right there. And then there are the actual currency here. And the center pops out, so they have cool little you know, whatever look here for what the coins would look like, which is an extra detail they did not need to add, but it's kind of cool that they did. So, you can actually pop the center out. That'll leave me with a lot to do for actually getting all those ready, but once they're ready, they'll be easy. Again, another very similar sheet. Different buildings, because there's a lot of buildings. That way, each game you play can be quite varied, because depending on which buildings end up out, it changes what options you have during the game. Here we have the different tokens for each of the agents. You know, the different colors of players can have their own. Basically, the tokens to mark I've owned the building. Here's the larger money, and here's the point things to keep track of points when not already on the board. Weird, but yeah. That's how you keep track of that normally, including these ones for the 100-point one, which has one for each group. That way you can keep track of, I've got an extra 100 points if you circle around the board completely. Alright. Each of the agents, each of the different factions has, for each color, their little card where you have, in the back for selecting them would say what the faction is. Then you have a spot to store, just set your agents, and your tavern, which is where your blocks go. If you have your fighters or your clerics or your wizards or thieves, I think it is. You can put any of your active quests, the quests you're working on. It has a line here for them to go on this side. You stick your lord, your individual you're playing, face down underneath the bottom here. If you have completed plot quests, which are quests which give you extra bonuses once you finish them, you can set them on this side, or ones that are just used later at the end of the game for points, you just stack them here. So and each one has its own bit of art for what their tavern, which none of these are really all that much of a tavern. They're all, at least some degree fancier than that. But it's, the headquarters building for your faction. I just love the organization thing here. And just checking, nothing underneath. So we got everything here. For example, this bag is filled with a bunch of thieves. No, I'm color deficient. That's filled with a bunch of wizards. So they could all go right in there. This one would therefore be a bunch of thieves. Got it right that time. Oh no. And apparently if they fall in here, they are very difficult to get out. Ah, got it. Again, fighters, clerics. They have a little spot to put them there. The different factions have their different agents, so I know that's not where they go. For example, we have the 5 agents for the Silver Stars, and I do believe the number of agents you get is dependent on what how many players there are in the game. But you have your little figure. It looks like a little good dude, and they can each be stored in here, along with your other colors related things. So 4 or 5. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you'd be able to store all your guys in there. This little bag here has your little marker for how many points you have. I guess that goes there. And we also have this castle, rook rather, I suppose, for who was the first player. We continue from that and move this out of the way. We finally have just a big deck of cards. believe this is the last of what is in here. Blurry. Better. So these cards, we'll go through the back. We have the Lords of Waterdeep, the Intrigue, and the Quest, which I believe is the rest of them, yeah. So the three different types of cards within the game. Starting Lords of Waterdeep. These are the these are the different people that you would essentially play as. For example, you could be Larissa Nethal. And at the end of the game, you score 6 points for each building you control. Others are based on completing certain types of quests. So yeah, that's what most of them are. But yeah, so they have essentially special objectives, and a little bit about the character, because again, it's set within, you know, the story of, you know, Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realm Waterdeep. Intrigue cards are, there's like spots on the board where you can get intrigue cards, and spots on the board that let you play intrigue cards. Some are like these ambush. Each opponent removes a fighter from his or her tavern and returns it to the supply, which is back to the board. For each opponent that could not do so, take one fighter from the supply and place it in your tavern. So either your opponents lose them or you gain them. Either way, good for you when you play that. Whatever. One of these. Accelerate plans. Choose one of your agents assigned to Waterdeep Harbor, which is where you play these, and return it to your pool, then immediately assign 2 agents. So that, basically, because you go around the board in turns, this lets you quickly do multiple things. Yeah. You can take one of the following from the supply. You either get 4 money, 2 fighters, 2 thieves, a wizard, or a cleric. And then there are also... let's see, utility, here we go. Mandatory quests that you can play on someone else, which are low reward quests that whatever you give opponent when you play it, that opponent cannot complete any non-mandatory quests until this quest is complete. So they have to pretty much derail what they were working on, what they were trying to do to gain points, in order to complete whatever this is. And because the quests are a big way that you win the game, and they're I guess the primary mechanic. It's you have to gather enough of the of either money or, you know, wizards, thieves, fighters, and clerics to complete whatever the quest is. And in a reward, you usually get points, or this one would give you an intrigue card, or some of them will give you some more unit, you know, more like clerics here to get, you know, additional, you know, complete further quests. This one lets you draw a new quest, so carry on from where you were. Let's find some plot quests. Let's see. Here's a plot quest. Like on this one, once you've defeated it, it only gives 6 points. But whenever you take an action that provides any wizard, you also draw an intrigue, which makes all of a sudden getting wizards much better, because now you get intrigue when you do. Or once per round, you can assign an agent to a space containing an opponent's. You can assign someone somewhere where it's someone else. So some of the plot quests give you less points, but benefits that go further in the game. Anyways, like I said, I have a playthrough of the game on my channel already. You can check that out. I may eventually do one here without the expansions. I'm not sure. I've actually never played it without the expansions, but I'm interested to try that. The game as normal. My friend Dustin, who owns the game, prior to this that we've played it, he is very much of an expansion guy. he gets the game, he gets it with all the expansions that are out at this point, and he just, first time you play it, you gotta use everything. I'm more of a, let's try learning it basic for some other games I've gotten in, and I enjoy that a lot. So, expansions are a fun alternate way to play the game, but I view it less as the only way to play the game. He tends to view it as, well, there's no other way. You have to play with all the expansions. So I look forward to checking this out, and I guess I look forward to my next probably half hour of punching out and organizing everything, because there are definitely a lot of things to punch out, and because all the money has the hole in the middle, there are things to punch out within the things that you punch out. But all the same, looks quite enjoyable. As I said, I've played the game with the expansions. I look forward to trying it just vanilla, I guess. Thank you for watching. I'll link down below where you can find Lords of Waterdeep yourself. Check it out. It's a fun board game. Good time with a group of friends. Check it out. Have a great day. Bye.